Let's talk about something huge. What if I told you that everything we think we know about America's failing schools is wrong? That the problem isn't what we think it is, and the solution? Well, it's something straight out of science fiction. Let's get into it.
So we have to start here with this number, 40%. Just let that sink in for a second. According to what's basically the nation's report card, 4 out of every 10 fourth graders in the U.S. can't read at a basic functional level. This isn't just bad, it's a disaster that's wiped out 3 decades of progress. It's the flashing red light on the dashboard.
So, naturally, the question everybody jumps to is this one. Are our schools failing? I mean, it seems obvious, right? It's the easy answer, the one that gets thrown around in every debate, but what if it's the wrong question entirely? To really figure this out, we have to look under the hood of the system itself. You see, our schools are built on an old model, a 19th century factory model. It was designed for a different time, and it has a critical, fundamental flaw in its design. They call it Swiss cheese learning, and it's a perfect metaphor. Imagine this. You're in a math class, you take a test on fractions, and you get a 75%. We call that a C, pat you on the back, and push you on to the next unit, decimals. But what that C really means is that you didn't grasp 25% of the core concept. That's a hole. And the next unit builds on the last one, so you get another hole and another, until the whole foundation is just full of holes and it collapses.
So what's the fix? Well, you just flip the entire equation on its head. See, in our current factory model, the one thing that's constant is time, 9 months in a grade, an hour in a class. The variable is how much you learn. But in a mastery-based model, learning is the constant. You have to achieve 100%. The variable becomes time. It might take you 2 days, it might take you 2 weeks, but you don't move on until you get it.
And this brings us to what sounds like an educational utopia, a system actually designed to make sure every single student succeeds. It's called mastery-based education. Think about how different this classroom looks. The students are in the driver's seat. They work at their own pace, wrestling with ideas until they truly master them. And the teacher? The teacher is no longer the sage on the stage, just lecturing to the middle of the class. They're freed up to become this personal coach, going to the students who are stuck and giving them that crucial one-on-one help right when they need it. I mean, on paper, this is it. It's the perfect system. No more Swiss cheese knowledge. Every kid builds a rock-solid foundation. You'd create a generation of truly confident, independent thinkers. It sounds like the key, right? So the big question is, if this is so great, why aren't we doing it everywhere? Because when this theoretically perfect system collides with our very unequal reality, it doesn't just show a crack. It reveals a flaw so enormous it could shatter the whole idea of public education.
It's the perfect system. Or, well, almost.
Okay, let's run a little simulation. You have 2 first graders. We'll call them Student A and Student B. Student A comes from a well-off family. Lots of books, lots of conversation. Student B comes from a low-income home. In the old factory model, they move through the grades together. But in a mastery system, you take the brakes off. Student A, with her head start, just takes off like a rocket. Student B, who's missing some of those early building blocks, moves much slower. After just 5 years, Student A is doing 8th grade work, while Student B is still on 3rd grade material. The achievement gap doesn't just widen, it becomes an impossible-to-ignore chasm. And this right here, this is the most important takeaway. The mastery system doesn't create this inequality. It's a truth-telling machine. The old factory model was brilliant at one thing, hiding the problem by pushing kids along based on their birthday. The mastery model rips the Band-Aid off and forces us to see the raw, uncomfortable truth of a much deeper crisis. And that forces us to look for the source of the problem somewhere else entirely. It turns out the real crisis isn't happening inside our schools at all. It's happening before kids ever set foot in a kindergarten classroom.
Now get ready for this because this data changes everything. When you take America's international test scores and break them down by the poverty level of the school, you get this absolutely stunning result. Our most affluent schools, the ones with very little poverty, they don't just do well, they score #1 in the world, better than powerhouse countries like Singapore. So the system can work. It works brilliantly, but only if the students show up ready to learn. The problem isn't instruction, it's preparation.
And the reason for this, it's all biology. It's pure neuroscience. The fundamental architecture of the human brain for things like language is built in the first 3 years of life. That's the critical window.
By the time a kid gets to preschool, that window's already shutting. So that infamous fourth-grade slump we always hear about, it's not a slump at all. It's just the delayed detonation of a bomb that was set in infancy.
So what builds the brain? It's a simple, beautiful thing called serve and return. It's like a game of conversational tennis between a baby and an adult. The baby babbles or points at a dog. That's the serve. The parent responds, "Oh, look at the big fluffy dog." That's the return. Thousands of these little interactions a day are literally what builds the neural connections for learning.
And the cost of missing out on that is just devastating. Research shows that by the time they're only 4 years old, children from homes with very little of this serve and return can already be 2 years behind in their verbal and cognitive development. They're starting kindergarten with the mental age of a 2-year-old. They are starting a marathon a mile behind the starting line.
So you have this massive biological social problem happening in millions of individual homes. How on earth could you possibly scale a solution? Well, this is where the story takes a wild turn, and the solution is as radical as the problem is deep.
The idea is something called an AI cognitive prosthetic. Now, stay with me here. Imagine a device, an always-on AI companion for a child, from birth to age 5. This isn't just a tablet. It's an interactive partner that can see what the child sees, hear their babbles, and engage them in thousands of those crucial serve and return interactions every single day. It would constantly be infusing their environment with rich language and foundational knowledge, building that brain 24/7.
Okay, and I know what you might be thinking, so let's be crystal clear about this. This is not about replacing parents or replacing love. An AI can't give a child a hug. It can't provide that deep, secure emotional bond. That's uniquely human and completely irreplaceable. But what an AI can do is provide infinite patience, a limitless knowledge base, and the sheer volume of verbal interaction that's needed to physically build the hardware for learning in a child's brain. It's a cognitive tool, not an emotional substitute.
And when you put it all together, you get this elegant two-step solution. Step 1, you use this AI technology to close the preparation gap before school even starts. You level the playing field. Step 2, you then unleash all these fully prepared kids into a mastery-based system that allows every single one of them to fly as high and as fast as they can.
If you could pull this off, the potential impact is just mind-blowing. We could theoretically go from our current reality, where barely a third of our students are considered proficient, to a future where that number is 85 or 90%. It wouldn't just be an improvement, it would be the single greatest leap in human potential in history.
And all of this leaves us with one final, deeply provocative question. I know it sounds like a dystopian movie plot, but based on everything we've seen, we have to ask it. Is this our choice? A future with a cognitive prosthetic in every home to level the neurological starting line? Or a future where the accident of birth creates a biological divide so deep that no school system could ever hope to heal it? That's what we need to start thinking about.